So here in chapter 5, our next looping structure after the while loop is the do while loop. Now, there's a couple of main differences between the while loop and the do while loop that we did not describe in the previous example, so I'll go ahead and do that here really quickly. In the while loop, the decision is made at the top of the structure. So up here is where the decision is made in a while loop. So if I go through and set, instead of 0, set number to 6, we have not created a condition where I need even to enter into that while loop in order to execute its code. So the truth is checked at the top of your statement block for the while loop. In a do while loop, the truth of the statement is checked at the bottom of your do while loop. So what that suggests is whether or not you want to, you are going to enter into the statement block of your do while loop irrespective of the truth of any given situation. So like a delete operation is a terrible idea for a do while loop because you're not guaranteed to want to delete something. You might want to delete something, but in a do while loop, you are entering into the code block for the loop at least one time. So here in this example, I would argue something that is a good use of the do while loop is something like scores entry or data entry. You know that the user is going to enter into this statement block because you need data from the user. So that means this has to be executed. So we can structure the logic around the idea that we're going to get in here anyway. So let's use the do while loop. So you'll notice our keywords here, do and while. And you'll notice that we do have, unlike the while looping structure, we do have the semicolon here on line 24 at the bottom, the end of our do while loop, whereas in the while loop we did not have on the line with our definition for the while, we did not have the semicolon there. So here in this piece of code, I'm going to ask for 3 scores, 1, 2, and 3. And then one thing I've got here is the idea of, do you want to continue? So this particular loop, as long as somebody enters a capital Y or a lowercase y, we are going to continue into this loop. So I'm going to go ahead and run this and we'll step through it. So when I hit run, the first thing you'll notice is we start here on line number 14. Enter 3 scores and I will average them. So 10, 20, 30. So the average is 20. The math there comes out. Do you want to average another set? So I'm going to put in a lowercase y. Is lowercase y an uppercase y or a lowercase y? You bet. So enter 3 scores, and I will average them again. So we got to the bottom here on line 24 of our do while statement. Because I entered in a character that happens to be an uppercase y or a lowercase y, we enter into that loop again. So this time I'm going to say 20, 30, 40. The average is 30. Do we want another average set? So in this case, I want to break out of this loop. I want to get done eventually. So do I have to put no to continue? I do not. So if I put C for quit, if I'm totally wrong here, thank you, play again. Why did I break out of this loop? Because I was only checking for 2 conditions, uppercase Y, lowercase y. Everything else breaks me out of this. So think about that when you're developing some of your menu structures for your pieces of code. Is your program going to run one time? It's going to run one time. Is your operating system going to run one time? It's going to run one time. It used to be an adage that you would see in, development textbooks or comics circulated for developers was, if you just wrap all of Windows in a do while loop, you're on the right track. And that is the case, because I know when I hit the power button, I'm going to want to go through these sets of steps. And when do I want it to quit? Potentially a long way down the road. So the do while loop is in your advantage in that case, because the logic is set up in such a way that it guarantees you're going to come through this loop at least one time, and you do not have to have any conditions set before you get in the loop that you have to check for truth, because it checks at the bottom of our decision structure, or a looping rather structure.